outside at Oscar and Sunset, and you're watching ONTrack Weekly.
And welcome into the show. Expect to be a quiet weekend after the Snowball Derby, a staple at the end of the season and in the off season. And if you had flow racing, you got to have a good couple of days, see some great racing and some Canadian content down there. A little disappointing results for some of those guys, but I think it was pretty disappointing for all of our contenders. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best showing that we've had. We had a much better showing last year, but it shows the competition level out at the Snowball Derby is absolutely no joke, and that's what we saw once again this year. Trayton Lapsovich, probably the best of the best out there. Cole Butcher, Jared Butcher, obviously Nicholas Noggle, Caden Lapsovich, Kyle Steckley, Chase Pinsino were our pretty big roster of Canadians out there, and unfortunately Kyle Steckley was not able to make the field in a very, very tight battle to make it into the Snowball, and unfortunately mechanical failures and wrecks took out some of our other contenders. Unfortunately, just no one was really into the battle. Caden Honeycutt picked up the big win over Stephen Nassy, who really had one hell of a weekend again. And it was pretty remarkable to see the competition level each and every year continues to be some of the best racing out there. And Ty Majeski, I really thought he had it, and Ty he is the guy in short track late model action. Ty Majeski is the name. Stephen Nassy, of course, picking up the Snowflake and second, almost getting there to do the double, and he just continues to show why he is Stephen Nassy. Bubba Pollard really wasn't my guy, wasn't really in contention most of the weekend, unfortunately. So that was a little tough, but what was really nice about having the Snowball Derby weekend is having those Canadian contenders being a part of it, and it just makes the whole weekend a lot more exciting. Obviously, love to see a couple more names get down there in the future. Maybe a Connor Pritico in the future. He's somebody I think that definitely has the talent to be up there and competing on a grander scale. I think we saw Josh Stoddy. He was out there a couple races, race down in Nashville. He's somebody else I think you could definitely see potentially be a part of the future. I want to thank Wally Wilson for that intro and for tonight's featured racer. Brady Cox, how you doing, buddy? Old Man Shop, Johnson Family Outdoors. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. We don't have a ton. Rich Schwarzenberg, Ashley Mick Martin, Matt Bray. Thank you guys for tuning in. We don't have much time until the end of 2024, so I put it out on social media. We could check in and talk about what people's wishes are for if they got a Santa's wish in racing. What is it that you'd be wishing for? Obviously, I'm one of those guys that's got a lot of wishes, so we'll go through and compile a list and see what people put out there. Take a look at where we think, where I believe we've got some of the rosters starting to shape up for 2025 across the province. Not just our weekly racing divisions, but our touring divisions. I think some of the tracks are sleeping in terms of getting their schedules out. I feel like we had announcements on schedules this time last year. Perhaps there's some stuff holding up the works, and that does tend to happen around this time of the year where perhaps there are some holdups in the schedules. I would have thought that we would have gotten these before the end of the year. So I think we will definitely see schedules come out. We've seen APC. We saw OSS. I don't know 100% what the deal is with OSS, though. Whether that schedule is completely... I've heard some rumblings about that maybe not be fully correct. So there might be some further adjustments. And then obviously for me, planning for next year, I really want to get to know the Peterborough schedule, Flambros, and especially Sunsets. Those are my three big tracks. Sauble Speedway, what their schedule is going to look like. I've heard some rumblings about their stuff for next year, that they're potentially have a longer period of time for their schedule. Maybe not as many races, but just a longer start and end. So Full Throttle had their banquet this past weekend. They are going to get ready to go for a 2025 season that ultimately might be very different looking when you have Pure Stocks now becoming, or they were known as Fun Stocks, officially going to be becoming Bone Stocks for 2025. So I think the only track that still has a different name for the Bone Stocks is Flamborough, calling them Pure Stocks. Let's just go across the board, guys. Call them all the same thing. I understand some people would like some tracks keep it their name, but we really got to have everybody on the same plate here. There's no debating that we need consistency across the board, across everywhere. You have a couple of tracks that have the same types of classes. We see Bone Stocks, Mini Stocks, Super Stocks, Late Models. That's a genuine name across the board. Let's do that for everybody. And Ash says, and what Ash has and brings up is an extremely important point, is having united rules. This is a problem in motorsports right now. If you want people to go to your racetrack on their off weekends, you got to make it easy for them. So have the same rules, same tires, same everything that you can across the board. Now, whether there's some sort of a committee, honestly, of all the track bone stock rules, all the, somebody representing the drivers coming together and making some sort of a deal, because it starts at the bottom. It starts right at the bottom. Bone stocks and junior late models, Bandoleros, they are going to be the ticket. And Bandoleros put their schedule out. This is really exciting stuff for the Bandoleros. Now, I understand there's some apathy. There's some people that aren't interested in the INAX Bandoleros, and that's completely okay. You're allowed to have your opinions, but I was a little concerned that the Bandoleros would only be back at Peterborough Speedway in 2025. That is not the case. They are going to be heading to 3 tracks, Sauble for 1 weekend, Peterborough, and Sunset. And I absolutely love that. I think that's exactly where you started off. Reason being, right now, those are the strongest junior late model fields. The Bandoleros would typically pull from that division. Now, I believe that the Bandoleros will not have an age restriction. So potentially you will have people from all ages being a part of them, the youngest of the young and then the oldest of the old. I mean, you got kids like Luke Cuthbertson being a part of that division last year. I think the kid was like 8. So, and then also what Jeff Drimmie and his team last year put together was a rental program, which is exactly what you kind of need. There's going to be a lot of people that, if they would have the opportunity to race in the Bandoleros but not have to own it, I think there'd be a field for that. If you also have rentals from track to track, you have more likely of one-off opportunities for racers that are from that track to be a part of the race, and I think that's a good idea as well. Bandoleros, I hope we don't know exactly yet the rules for them, what their distances are going to be, but I expect that the Drimmies will be putting it together pretty well. We've seen the INAX Legends take off for 2025. Put it back out there again, that Dan Russ Motorsports out of the Great Lakes Legends shutting down. Lots of Legends available. I believe I've counted 7 to 8 cars are available. So definitely, if you've been at all interested, this is the time to get into legend car racing. The Great Lakes Legends taking off Sauble Legends, and then of course the Ontario Legend Car Series. Those are all available places to go and race. Big thing I've told you guys before about Bandoleros and legend cars, exact same across the board. You can take it from the East Coast to the West Coast to the United States and race. Standard across the board. And you can get all your parts from INAX, which is perfect. And the key thing is that it's an even playing field. You're going to have obviously some that are better than others, but I think this is the time. We know right now this is the time for the Legend Car Series, the INAX Bandoleros to take off for 2025. And I think we're going to see that. I think right now you definitely have opportunities to grow and be stronger for 2025. And right now, there seems to be the momentum there. Now, I do hope this is not at the expense and not at the detriment of the junior late models. I still feel there is room for them. If you want something that is an entry-level position, an entry-level for your young kid, junior late models are still there. This now offers something in between that with the novice racer that doesn't want to get into bone stock racing or can't get into bone stock racing. It still offers another opportunity for them. So as far as we know, you've got that schedule. It looked to be 16 races, something around that. We'll try and see if I can find this post. Again, if you haven't already, check it out on ONTrack Weekly on Facebook. We've got our page there, and try to share as much news as we can. It gets a little bit busy with the other podcasts that we do cover, but let's see. All right, so I'll put this up on the screen right now. Hopefully I have the right screen selected. Yes. Okay. All right, so your tentative schedule that Dawson Drimmie has posted, all dates are double features. Now, this is huge because double features, obviously, it gives you 2 races during a single race day. So if you take a look at this, that means you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 races over 8 weekends, starting at Sunset Speedway on May 10th. Gets a good little bit of a break to May 31st at Peterborough. They head back to Sunset on June 14th. And then on July 19th, so a solid month-long break before they go to Peterborough Speedway. Then it's August 3rd at Sauble, August 9th at Peterborough, and then it's Sunset Velocity, September 21st for Fall Velocity. And then they will have a place in the prestigious Autumn Colors Classic, October 11th, 12th, and 13th. Now, this is a solid lineup. I don't think that there's any change that they really need to make. Obviously, if Flamborough is open to having them in the future, if Grand Bend is open to having them Full Throttle, I think those places definitely could be added. But as for right now, a solid schedule to put together for their first season. It's going to be a little bit different the first time around. Obviously, last year they were not traveling. They were really just in exhibition races. So this is going to be the opportunity of a lifetime for those who are going to be a part of the Bandoleros in 2025. I know of at least 3 drivers that are going to be part of the Bandoleros. I don't know in what capacity. That is going to be the big question, because as of right now, you've got to look towards either a full-time touring, which is a little bit, I wouldn't say it's anti what we want to do here, because there's obviously benefit to going to the track and touring all over. However, there is going to be that cost added, and some of those racers that were a part of it last year were all Peterborough regulars. So are they going to go and do all the traveling? That's the big question mark right now. So there's still lots to come out about the Ontario Bandoleros for 2025, which is extremely exciting. Stickers and Scuffs podcast, we're going to have Caleb, or sorry, not Caleb, there's 2 Dremmys, Dawson Dremy on our show in February to talk about the Ontario Bandoleros for 2025. I'm sure we'll get more announcements coming out. Like we said, Peterborough Speedway, Grand Bend, Sauble, Flamborough, Delaware, like all these places, we still need their schedules for 2025. So it'll be very interesting to see when we do get those. I know Calvin Reeser posted and was asking last week, like, why are we getting touring divisions that are announcing their schedule before the home tracks are? And that's a great point. It definitely is, and it just appears that they don't have to hold out. Touring divisions just care about their race, their track event. They don't really need to wait until everybody else is announced. The big thing is getting your scheduled races out and announced and be a part of things. Now, for 25, there very well could be some changes, and I know that in the past I mentioned this on SNS Live on Friday, that it was a series typically that was holding up the tracks because they were still trying to figure out what they wanted. They were still negotiating. I know in the past NASCAR Canada was one of those holdouts. That they were waiting for approval on their schedule, so the track couldn't then approve their schedule because they were waiting. And that's just timing. That's what it comes down to, right? Is trying to get everything situated in time. I'd be very curious to see what NASCAR Canada's schedule is pretty well expected that you're going to have your typical races for next year. However, I have been teased with potential big changes coming to the NASCAR Canada schedule for 25. Montreal does not appear to be on that. Unfortunately, Montreal was originally pushed as a companion event with the Cup Series. When that did not happen, all talk, it sounds like, for Montreal has dissipated. potentially maybe you'll see it in the future with 26, 27. They decided to go to Mexico instead. So for right now, nothing on that end. But you're still going to see, I think, your regular CTMPs. You're still going to see Shojier. You're still going to see GP3R. You're still going to see Momani. Those are all in place. The question mark for 25 right now, the schedules that were going to be the tracks that were up for renewal in 25, the 3-year deals that were done in 22 were for Newfoundland and Ohsweken Speedway. So both of those tracks would be open for 25 in terms of whether they're back on the schedule. And then I think you have to look out west at Edmonton and Saskatoon, because they're always kind of question marks. What they did this past year, they put them on 2 separate weekends. And that in itself is a huge stressor to that series and a huge stressor to those teams. So all of a sudden now you had 2 weekends out in Atlantic Canada, you had 2 weekends out in Western Canada, no Toronto on the schedule, which is huge for those series drivers and teams. So I think you will see a big change in 25. There's not been any announcements. I haven't heard either way what's happening. I've been shown a potential mock-up of the schedule. If it's true, it's a pretty good schedule. I think it balances things out. Obviously, I think some people will be disappointed, but I think there's other big things coming. In reality, I would like to see a little more Ontario, and that stems from the CASCAR fan in me. Is that's where the series kind of started. That's where its roots are. I think it's basically an Ontario-Quebec series. Let's be honest here. That's the truth. So that's the major touring series that would be a holdup if it was going to be impacting schedules for Sunset Speedway, Delaware, and I'll say Peterborough in there. I don't really see anybody else potentially being a target for NASCAR Canada, maybe Flamborough. If that's the holdup, that I could see that. APC, they got their schedule out already. Dayco Superstocks typically wait a little bit longer for the Superstocks. I think theirs is normally in the new year. They typically will put the Superstock schedule out. Oscar as well. The JRS Auctions Hot Rods and the Just Foment Modifieds. Be very curious to see how they line up this year, especially the Modifieds. TJ Edwards won both championships last year. He is out of the Modifieds for 25. Out of them completely. He's going to super late racing. He'll be up there for the favorite with Jared Fitzpatrick, Sean Chenoweth, as long as both those guys are back full time in that division. So the landscape is changing. Wally Wilson, I'm going to put out there. Steve Trendell, they would be the names that I'm looking at. Amanda Balson, if she goes that route, I don't know what Amanda's plans are right now, if she's going to stick to doing Sunset mods or if she's going to do Oscar mods as well, or maybe a bit of both. AJ Ems did not run a full season last year. So that's where there's going to be a lot of openness into who's going to move into that division, especially considering that they were looking pretty low in numbers last year, and that was across the board. Modifieds in general had a bit of a struggle, and there's not a really good reason why. They are ultimately one of the best divisions to watch. And I'm more of a tour style modified person myself. I absolutely love the look of those cars. And the competition level has been fantastic. Unfortunately, it seems like it's going through a bit of a lull. And when I talked to Amanda Balson about this a couple of months ago, she had said, that this is typical for Ontario racing, is that divisions are like this. Some years you're going to have dips, and then all the years it builds back up and it gets strong. On Ontario Modifieds, they're looking a little bit stronger this year. I think they've got a couple of guys coming in. that are going to help that division. Glenn Morris would be one of them. That's what you want. You want to have competition changing, and I'd love it if we could say each division across Ontario at every track is going to have over 10 cars. I really don't know if that's going to be the case. I would say no, likely not. The key words for next year is going to be what the payouts are going to be, and the week to week. What the week to week is going to be extremely important, because we really need the momentum to continue. I think by having more and more people going out there doing their media, Only Fours, for example, going out there and promoting the amazing bone stock division, that's what you need. We got to continue that. We're going to continue to try and promote everybody from junior lates all the way up to late models. And as long as we can keep some strength there, I would love it if we get a Caden Lapsevich coming back and running for APC series this year. I don't think it's in the cards, but he is the type of name that could give a little bit more of a good presence back into APC. They are going to have a big change if Kyle Steckley is not back next year. Now, I think it opens things up a little bit. Kyle Steckley has been the name for the last year. So who takes over that mantle? I really believe it's going to be Connor Pritico. Connor has shown so much in such a short amount of time, being the Delaware champ and then coming into and competing and finally getting that win at Delaware in the APC series last year. So the other question mark is who could join. Every year there's somebody that joins up in the APC series that maybe we weren't expecting, and I would love it if we can see some fresh faces. I think the likelihood is what you get is what we've got, basically, is you're going to have your mainstays, the guys that are there each week, your Junior Farleys, your Sean Chenoweths, Josh Stoddies, Shea Gemmels, and then you're going to get your division regulars from the tracks. And that's going to help when it comes to week. So your Kendra Adams. I would love to see more of Kendra coming into the APC series. I think that's what... I think APC would really benefit from having Kendra Adams or Sam Shaw. Having a female full-time in the division would be great to see. Obviously, the face of the series has been Kyle Steckley, but if you look behind him, he's got a lot of potentials. Blair Wickett's right there. Just hasn't gotten over the hump to get that win. He would be up there. Connor Pritico would be up there, like I mentioned, as the guys who potentially could really try to help carry the APC series. Dayco Superstocks, that's a whole different story. For 25, really have no idea who is going to come back, who is going to do something different. The other thing is whether it'll be Dayco. We don't really know what the details were about Dayco coming in. They came in very late, remember. That was extremely late in the offseason. Quick Wick was not going to be part of it, and Dayco stepped up, and it was another great season, and in a division that Superstocks, again, I think you're going to see a bit of a dip in 25. Whether or not that's in the Dayco Superstocks or weeklies, it's hard to say. I think mini stocks definitely are getting a lot of love. From what I'm seeing, it's looking that way, that we're going to see mini stocks once again continue to be strong. I think actually Outlaw Midgets are looking pretty solid in their counts for 2025. Ontario Sportsman is looking pretty good. Ontario Legends is looking pretty good. The that's what I have so far. I think you're going to see mini stocks looking pretty good. Bone stocks at Sauble are looking pretty decent for right now. Same, of course, when you see the ones out at Flamborough Speedway. CVMs, I think so far not bad at Flamborough Speed. We got some additional names out there. Bone stocks out at Full Throttle. Watch out. There's going to be a whack ton of those guys. And same with obviously out at Delaware Speedway. I think your question marks will still be your late model super stock, the higher end divisions. I think hot rods are looking exceptional at Sunset Speedway for this year. Whether or not that is a continuation into Oscar as well, that remains to be seen. But so far, so good. We've been putting out some of the registration names that we did get yesterday. There was a solid amount of racers that have registered out at Peterborough Speedway, as it was it was an early registration day for them yesterday. So we'll go quickly over to the Stickers and Scuffs podcast, because we've got a couple of names that we could put out there on the screen here. All right, so returning to Peterborough Speedway in their junior late model division will be Caden Beatty in the 86K. So welcome back to Caden and his brother Wyatt. Wyatt is the junior late model champion from last season in the number 68. And he is also back. In the bone stock division, Callie Dearmer has registered in the number 55. She will return to the bone stock division in 2025 at Peterborough Speedway. And then joining once back again in the junior late models is Savannah Strawn in the 35. And Savvy, a very impressive year last year. She'll be back in the number 35 junior late model. I think she's somebody you're going to have to watch to potentially take some wins next year. Kyle Johnson in the 02 bone stock. He has registered for 2025 to be back once again. And Clayton Reed in that beautiful number 21R. He returns and registers in the super stock division. Dylan Wills will join in the number 28 super stock for 2025. He is once again in that super stock division, which I think is going to be even stronger this season. Now, Brad Laval, we did chat. Brad driving this number 6, beautiful number 6 super stock. Not 100% sure if he's going to be out there very much. I did register just to, make sure he was registered, but the likelihood is that he's going to be doing a lot more tech stuff, helping out the track, which you can't hate that. That's fantastic stuff by Brad. He got out there and ran Autumn Colors. Did a great job. Made his way into the mini stock race, and it's great to see Brad each and every week. One of the guys that helps out Peterborough Speedway a ton. And speaking of Laval's, Christian Laval will be back in the 06 in the bone stock division at Peterborough Speedway. He is also registered for 2025, as has that mini stock number 6 for John Laval. Now, this was a nice surprise here. Chad Strawn is registered, and he is returning back to Peterborough Speedway in 2025. However, he is not returning to the Truck Series in 2025. We'll leave it to him to make that announcement. He has already been posting a little bit about where they're headed. It'll be a very competitive car, very competitive division for Chad Strawn. He's up there potentially going to be battling for that championship in 2025. Robbie Miltimore will be back in the number 18 Robbie M Racing ride in the junior late models out at Peterborough Speedway. Got his first experience racing last year. A bit of a rough season for him, but he'll be back trying to make his way into the pro division. And you can't ever count out the donk. It is Donovan Price is back in the number 96, registered for their Superstock division in 2025. So welcome back to Donovan Price. Todd Labadie in the mini stock division out at Peterborough Speedway has registered his number 4. Spoke to Todd at Autumn Colors Classic. He is always he's just out there to have fun. He's loving it. Absolutely a huge fan of Todd and what he gets to, what he's basically doing. He's just going out there having a good time. Paige Stevenson will be back, and I have gotten word that her car is getting a bit of a makeover for 2025, but she is registered in the Barbie number 77. So welcome back to Paige Stevenson out at Peterborough Speedway. Chad Massioli in the number 81. Of course, this car's not coming back because this car got totaled. Unfortunately, I didn't put up the new picture of his 81 ride, but Chad Massioli has registered, and he will be back in the Bone Stock division in 2025. Also joining is Rhonda the Honda and Tegan Stanley in the number 23. This is a championship favorite right here. Tegan Stanley had a couple of bad weeks that ultimately affected his championship, battling Sean Kennedy and Angelo and Kyle Novus each week. This is somebody who you've got to watch for the championship in 2025. Tegan Stanley returning to Peterborough Speedway. Corey Horn and Johnny McIntyre will split this number 09 Bone Stock in 2025. Corey Horn also expected to run in the Renegade trucks for Chuck Marsh in the 38 truck. Johnny McIntyre drove last year in his number 53. They'll split the ride this year in the 09. Wayne Dewey makes his division debut in the number 99 for Corey Horn Racing. No look on the car just yet because they haven't. It's not ready yet. So when we get that car ready, we'll get a picture of it up. But Wayne Dewey making his first ever foray into the Bone Stock division out at Peterborough. Also heading to a new division in 2025 is the 77C of Chase Stevenson. Now, Chase ran in the junior late models the past 4 seasons and is making a bit of a jump this year for this young lad. Great young racer, great young kid, very, very impressive behind the wheel, and he's going to be ready to take to the track in his new ride, and you guys will absolutely love it when it does become made available. The champ from last year, Chris Tubman, is registered in the number 88 Lakeside Mobile Tire machine, back to try and win another championship in the mini stocks. Matt McMartin, he is also going to be back in the Bone Stocks number 16 in the LMT Motorsports ride. Matt got his first experience last year and will be back once again to try and win some more accolades, trying to get up there, potentially win a race or two. But the Bone Stock division, I'm telling you, it's going to be very tough. Matt's got a lot of great people in this division to learn from, though, including Angelo and Kyle Novus. Angelo, of course, the champion from 2024 with his son Kyle. They are expected to do split duties once again in this lovely Mini Cooper. I absolutely love seeing this car out on the racetrack. One of the coolest things to go out there and see. And then finally registered, the final car that we've got registered for tonight, with these graphics at least, Avery Kirkpatrick in the number 13 junior late model ride. Of course, Avery is former champion of the junior late model division, moved up to the pro division last year after a couple of races actually, and it was a bit of an adjustment period for her, but she was able to start improving. They had mechanical problems last year as well, so that did impact her time behind the wheel, unfortunately. But that is your register names out at Peterborough Speedway so far. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more names that have registered. I just didn't. I wasn't even notified or got people that have registered, but we'll find out probably closer to the start of the season. There's a lot more names that are on there, but we'll continue to build week in and week out. When we get registration names and we get people that notify me that they've been registered, It's always fun. I think this is the type of stuff that you got to do, keep people interested, talk about who's coming back, who's not coming back. Silly season-esque, if you can, it is what you need to do. Now, I posted on social media this past week, as we tend to do, and I said, Racing Santa is asking you what's on your Christmas list for 2025. Get one wish in 2025, racing related. What would it be? Mine is simple. Mine's probably what a lot of people choose, and that's a certain track in Hagersville reopening and having Canadian Short Track Nationals. I never got to see it before it got shut down, so I just want to go back to Jukasa. I feel the weather on that track over the last couple of years would have helped. It's going to help the raciness of it. I kind of thought the track wasn't the most fun racing to watch. However, times have changed, and I think some weather to that track is going to make it a lot of fun. So I put it out to the racing community. I had some good responses from people. So let's see what we've got in terms of the racing community and what they thought. So we'll start off with Calvin Reeser, who says a bone stock rulebook that is the same for every track, and maybe one of these. He's posted a picture of a nice open car trailer with an enclosed front, which is very nice, actually. Definitely Trailer World, little promotion there for you. Megan Mitchell says, I'm with you on that one. I'd take a year's worth of tires and control arms. Cobalt Life. Gord McPherson says, definitely the airbagged open trailer is on the list. Otherwise, more good days than bad ones at the track. Absolutely. Absolutely. Scott Pro's got a lot of interesting ones. He's got Racebox Pro Mini S, a self-powered internal storage, now featuring video overlays. I believe this could be a tool that every team could use in their toolbox. Data analysis is unmatched. Number 2, one of those fancy hybrid trailers. And number 3, this one's very interesting. A 100 lap feature for hot rods in 2025 with a competition caution on lap 50 for fuel only, plus 2 more yellow flag laps for teams wanting to make changes but don't keep their spot. And then the number 4, time and money. Santa better deliver. Pops Campbell has the one I think most racing fans are wishing for. No rainouts at any track in 2025. Ryan Lust says, my Outlaw Midget fully paid for with new safety gear. Yes, that's the big thing, is getting everything paid so that you're able to get out there and race. And Ryan Cowan says, a trailer like this and the desire to compete in 2025, a trailer like that would be absolutely wicked. That's the type of trailer I think most guys should have. I think the one thing that I don't like about enclosed trailers is that you can't see the car. Sure, you might have a nice design on the outside of it with sponsors and so much, but this has a good way of showing it without losing the allure of the race car. Put the sponsors around it. Showcase the car. Great idea. Dean Jessup says a new hot rod that has anti-wall shocks, more races and good times with fellow racers. Graydon Bond says, I would give anything to taste victory again, hopefully a feature. Matt Bray says, a new set of flags. Of course, the flagman out of Sauble and Sunset's got to have some new flags. Donovan says he just wants his car fixed. Corey Horn says getting a feature, Johnny McIntyre getting a feature when driving his car. Jason Metcalf says a chance to drive a legend and a late model. Hey, just getting a chance to ride and drive one of those. I feel like that can happen. Hooligan says, I've tried really hard to be good this year, but things happen. If it's not too much to ask, can I have a racetrack to race on? That's always a good thing. Rick says, to be at the track for Mac's first win. Of course, being there for your son's first win would always be a good one. Or I get to take him to Rockingham for a NASCAR race. I went the last 6 years for the fall race and was always a great race. Fondest memory was listening to Earnhardt on my scanner on a Monday after a Sunday rain delay. Call NASCAR a bunch of and then as they would not start because of the drizzle. Tyler says, top level NASCAR back at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park or Montreal. Definitely a good one there. Will Clausen says, I'll go with a heat race win. So close last year to my first ever. Yes, you were, Will. Jaslyn says, all I could ask for is not stuff, but for all drivers to have fun in a very safe season in 2025. Yes, we had some driver injuries last year. So let's go with not having driver injuries, please. Ty Claxton says, definitely a race car driver starter kit included. Yeah, definitely, I think so. Dave Evison says, I would like to be competitive in the Grindstone Canadian Vintage Modified Division in my rookie year. Maybe even a handful of victories and the Rookie of the Year at 63 years young. Of course, pay attention to my Facebook page every week so that you can find the question of the week and give yourself an answer, and you'll find yourself right here on the show. Of course, if you also want to be a part of the intro and you are a racer in Ontario, you can do one up for me. Just do a small 10 to 15 second clip introducing you, what car you drive, what division or track you race at, and say you're watching ONTrack Weekly here on G-Force TV. That's all I need from you, and then we'll you leave it with me, and we'll put you in. We've had drivers from all over be our intro drivers. Wally Wilson's today. We've had Ben McPherson, Jordan Owen, Morgan Moore out of Sunset Speedway, Jen Hatch out of Delaware. We've had, I gotta remember everybody. We have also had Mike Thompson out of Flamborough Speedway, Lila Sigma out of Peterborough, Chase Stevenson out of Peterborough. So you can be a part of that as well. All you have to do is just send me a little intro and we'll get you up on the show. We really appreciate each and every one of you that tunes in every week on ONTrack Weekly. I know it is a time of the year where, we want to focus on the holidays. We want to focus on anything but racing. I'm not part of that, though. I definitely would focus on racing every day of the week, and I do. Almost every hour. We're always doing something racing and racing related, and it's extremely exciting to be a part of G-Force TV, and with Adam and Clinton and Greg Spencer, the entire team here has put in a ton of work for the 2024 season, and I don't know if they get enough love. I definitely want to make sure that you guys go out there and you show your support for G-Force TV for all they do, putting on Oshweekend broadcasts, putting on the NASCAR Canada broadcast, because if you didn't know, a lot of them are part of that as well. The APC broadcasts definitely been more on their plate than ever before, and they really deserve those accolades and that appreciation and that love. Also, they do the Race Rivals Race Chat every weekend, every week, every Wednesday, sometimes Thursday, sometimes Friday. Hell, sometimes it's Tuesdays, sometimes I keep saying it's Wednesday. It's not, it's Tuesdays. But they'll make sure that they put it on for you no matter what's going on. Oshweekend Speedway, they started having their junior track, the Little O, being broadcast as well. So great job by Mac and Jackson who put that together. And you know what? The team is absolutely amazing. Everybody that works, the camera crew, that is a part of each and every broadcast, rain, shine, cold, hot, doesn't matter. They're out there. and they're putting the product on for you, the racing fan. So G-Force TV, of course, give them likes, give them follows, share the channel, let people come in and be a part of it. We want to continue to grow G-Force TV. It's been pretty great this year. I put it back to, this was a track that this was a channel that without their efforts during 2020, I probably wouldn't be watching any sort of Ontario racing. I didn't know anything about it. I watched NASCAR Pinties, NASCAR Canada. That was it. And it was because of this crew and because of this channel that I got interested and found my love and my passion in Ontario motorsports. So give them a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. We're at 19.4 K subscribers. We want to get to 20,000. We're so close, 600 people away, 600 subscribers away. And this is the one thing that we know about Facebook. The one thing that we know is a lot easier to get views. Subscribers is very hard to get on YouTube because of their requirements. But we know that there's a lot of people that watch that aren't subscribed. So get out there and subscribe. You turn the bell on, get live notifications. Anytime that we go live, you'll be notified. And that benefits you. Get to see our shows. We've got ONTrack Weekly on Mondays, Race Rivals, Race Chat on Tuesdays. If we're at the Little O, typically that's on the Thursday night, and then a live Oshweekend Racing on Fridays. Occasionally you'll have G-Force Light, and with select big playoff events like Apple Fest at Brighton. And then, of course, you got your short track nationals at Oshweekend Speedway. And, of course, you got the Autumn Colors Classic all 3 days that was put on Racing America. And then a week later here on G-Force TV. They put all of this together for you. So give our guys behind the scenes, Spencer and Clinton, everybody that puts this product on, give them a big appreciation. They definitely deserve it. We'll be back next week. We continue to hopefully have more countdowns and more announcements of tracks and divisions announcing their schedules. We've got Bandoleros out there. We've talked to APC. We're still waiting for other divisions. We got OSS, their schedule out as well. We went through registrations for Peterborough Speedway. We'll probably have some more for next week. We continue to build our off-season into next season rosters. We've got only a couple more weeks left of 2024. But for ONTrack Weekly, Cam K, thank you so much for tuning in. Give us a thumbs up, guys. That really helps on YouTube. That helps us on Facebook as well. We really appreciate you tuning in each and every week. It is a big part of things, and you know what? We're going to keep and stay strong by the end of the season. We're ready for 2025. We're ready to get things going. We're ready to go on track, and we're ready to do it here on G-Force TV. Have yourself a great week, everybody. Catch you all next week here on ONTrack Weekly.